What's going on, my friends? I don't know if you can see me. The sun is bright here. I am just waiting on something here. Just figured I'd get on a thought. Kind of conflicted, but what I talked about in my last video about doing buyout tracks. Now, I think as I said on my last video, weigh out your year and what you're going to do and be very careful. Don't just arbitrarily sell somebody your tracks and not have a plan or a reason, or is a good reason to do it, and be giving up your riders. Now, this particular situation, I have a publisher this year that's asked for a lot of tracks that a client of theirs wants to buy out, and it's buying it out completely. You know, they're going to pay you good money to ride them and get them to them, but they're gone. You know, if they're broadcasted, you don't get royalties for them anymore. Now, here's the good side about it. You can allot some tracks each year to sell, which puts a little bit of extra money in your pocket a year. Actually, if you can find somebody who can buy your tracks and you retain 100% ridership, that's actually, excuse me for the phone, I don't have a gimbal. You can find a client who can buy tracks from you and you retain 100% of your rider share. That's actually a good deal. A lot, so many tracks a year. Not all of them, but so many a year to sell tracks to. Now, here's the question, is who? Because the only thing I'm getting is publishers doing this. And a lot of times it is music companies. There are publishers. There is kind of a dark secret out there in the internet that I'm learning, that there are royalty-free libraries buying people's tracks out, and they are getting rider shares, but they don't get any more licensing out of it. But it's a buyout. But that's what I just mentioned. It's not a bad thing to do. You get a company to buy so much music from you a year, you could make a good upfront living a year, plus your back-end royalties. That's the hard thing about it. It's very hard to do. It is so hard to do. It's almost like playing a game, trying to figure it out, my friends. But in the case of me this year, is that this particular publisher that I've got, you know, what is going on in the group that I'm in, I think I may do a few more for them. I mean, they just sent me 2 emails for 2 different types of rock tracks, and, you know, it's kind of one of those, can you help us? And then maybe these guys will help me. You know, I'm kind of looking at it that way. I mean, it's not something I'm going to make a habit out of, but it's also for the amount they're paying me to do them. You know, they're like, well, between now and the 21st of July, get us as many tracks as you can. They didn't say how many was a maximum amount of tracks. They didn't say you could only send me 6 tracks. You get them 10, 12 tracks, and you can do it by the 21st, which is 8 days away. Knock yourself out, you know. But it kind of conflicts me too, that I know that I will never see those tracks again. But however, here's the upside of this. If you remember what I talked about in my last video, I talked about hold those tracks for a while, and then one by one, incrementally, redo them, make different tracks out of them. Don't do the same thing. Repurpose them and put them back into that library. So now you've got tracks in the same vein, same structure, but different track. It's a different track. Don't violate your own copyright. It's something you just sold to your library. Don't do that. It's a no-no. But you repurpose it in the same vein, and you shoot it back into that library. Now you've got 7 or 8 you sold, and you've got 7 or 8 tracks that you have in that library collecting royalties for back-end and possible sync fees later. And that's how I look at it. But in this year, I think I'm probably going to do it. You're probably thinking, oh, he's going against his word from the last video. Not really, because the moral to this whole thing is have a good reason as to why you want to do a work for hire and not retain any ridership. It should be a small reason with another return in mind for the future. In other words, how you're working for these people and how they're going to look out for you. Understand what your deal is and what the situation is, and see where the value is. I see there may be some value here because, one, I'm helping them out, I guess. That's all I know. I don't know anything other than that. And 2, when come time to look out for you and get this stuff placed, they're going to be thinking about you. So just weigh out your situation, your options. All of our situations are different, man. We're all different. And when you're doing music, you have to kind of find your way and find a plan, but actually find your home and what's best for you. Find these people that are going to place the music that you do the most of, the best of, that genre. Don't just throw them to any publisher. You know, it's easy to do that, but the return is not easy. It's not going to happen. So anyway, I wanted to jump on and kind of add to that real quick, and I'll keep you updated on if anything more develops on that. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a great one.